good, y'all? It's the Demouchets, Ria, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
The New Zealand Haka is one of the great sights in world rugby. A nation standing together, celebrating their country's unique culture and heritage, whilst putting out a stirring challenge to their opposition. A right now so deeply entrenched into the game that international rugby is almost unimaginable without it. And the Haka has a surprisingly long history in the international game. It was first used by the New Zealand Maoris during their extraordinary 74-match tour of Britain in 1888. But it would really be carved into the fabric of the game during New Zealand's first fully representative tour of Mother Britain in 1905. A tour which saw a motley crew of unknown New Zealanders shock the British public with their dominance, earning them both their status as a giant of the game, and also their now legendary nickname, the All Blacks. But interestingly, in these early years the Haka was only performed when the All Blacks were on tour. A custom which would only change in 1921, when that other 20th century giant of the game, the South African Springboks, toured.
I wonder if he's going to actually say it here, but what do you mean they only did the Haka whenever they was on the road? So I'm curious to know if you're going to say it here, but did they do it on their home game, on their own field? Or did they have their own field?
I don't know. We need our New Zealanders
to
to come through and let us know.
Talk to us.
New Zealand for the first time. A tour which was expected to finally decide the status of world champions, albeit unofficial. And fittingly, that series would prove to be a fascinating contest, with New Zealand coming to a near standstill as they watched it all unfold. Indeed, their first ever test was played in a packed Carisbrooke Stadium in Dunedin. Special trains had to be commissioned in order to meet the demand heading towards the ground, and in addition to packing that rickety old stadium to the rafters, some 10,000 people dug into a hill overlooking that stadium, a mound they used to call the Scottish or the Caledonian Grandstand because of the free vantage point it offered its patrons. And much to the Springboks' surprise, it was the All Blacks who clinched that opening test. But the educated boot of South Africa's prince of fullbacks, Gerard Morkel, squared the series at Eden Park, so setting up a crucial deciding test match in the capital city of Wellington. And it was here in Wellington, ahead of this all-important deciding third test, that the All Blacks now decided to perform their famous Haka on home soil.
There you go.
And you may be surprised to hear that the Springboks immediately reciprocated with an Indlamu, a Zulu war cry of their own.
Are we shocked?
As luck would have it,
but are we shocked?
Conditions
We're looking at two real immersed cultures here going head to head.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked. I knew they was gonna stand up.
Listen, what we know about South Africa, they just, it never ceases to amaze me when it comes to their culture, when it comes to reciprocity, when it comes to the Ubuntu. I'm about to butcher it. Ubuntu spirit. I haven't seen it in a long time.
You said it just now. It's good.
Man.
Welcome back.
They said, oh, we got something for that.
Right. Can y'all imagine?
Boom.
Everybody in the hills watching this happen and they pull out their chants, their tribal war cries, their something that is natural to them.
Yes. Man, these two teams,
special. Always been a special.
So special. We gonna catch a game.
We will.
Gonna catch one.
Sure.
Wellington that day were absolutely atrocious. Indeed, the Springbok hooker, Toki Schultz, took one look at the pitch before describing it as a lake, with patches of mud showing like raisins on a poor man's Christmas pudding. Indeed, it quickly became apparent that constructive rugby that afternoon would be near impossible, an observation evidenced by the very, very dour-looking final score, a 0-0 draw. So this first test series between the Springboks and the All Blacks was tied, and the crown of rugby's first world champions would have to remain on the mantelpiece. But that Indlamu, our very own Springbok version of the Haka, has now largely been forgotten. Indeed, a search on Google confirms the levels of uncertainty surrounding this episode in Springbok rugby. Google results point to a string of articles written in 2007, when Jake White, then the Springbok coach, considered reviving the Indlamu ahead of the World Cup of that year. And these articles all seem to indicate that the Springbok War Cry had last been performed in 1926.
Oh,
A strange year considering the Springboks didn't play in.
Wait. Why they don't always do the Zulu war dance? Why they don't do that? War cry. Why?
They actually did it for their first game against the All Blacks as a return.
Like just
Return to sender type
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Like
we could do it too. We got, hey, what you want to do?
But when we watched the match a couple years ago, didn't they do it then?
They did.
Yeah, so are y'all still doing it today, or is it like just a special occasion type of thing? Let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
1926. And then when people on web forums have asked about the lyrics of that old war cry, the response has been inconclusive, a chant seemingly lost to antiquity. But having done some research, I can tell you that the following is clear. That the story of the Springbok in Dlamu tracks beautifully the first 5 tours between the All Blacks and the Springboks between 1921 and 1956. Because having splashed their way through their respective war cries in that final test in Wellington in 1921, the Springboks and the All Blacks met for a second series 7 years later in South Africa in 1928. And this time, being on tour, the All Blacks of course performed their famous Haka, as was their established custom. And again, the Springboks reciprocated, simultaneously with their own Zulu war cry. And in Dlamu, which, by now, we know was led by a Springbok debutant, a young man called Philip Nel. He had been born to a farm in the Kranskop district bordering Zululand in 1902. And so as a child he grew up fluent in Zulu. Indeed, having been born just 23 years after the famous Battle of Isandlwana, Philip probably would have heard first-hand accounts of this famous battle from aging but very proud Zulu warriors. Because Isandlwana saw the Zulu people register an incredible victory, a victory whereby Shaka's old pincer movement had outsmarted the mighty British Army, then the most powerful and modern military force on planet Earth. And so Philip Nel's strong connection to these impressive Zulu people rendered him the obvious choice to lead the Springbok in Dlamu of 1928. And what an amazing sight.
Love it.
To see these two rugby giants celebrating their respective cultures and heritage, while of course drawing inspiration from their brave warriors. And again, the second series in 1928 would live up to its name. Another tightly fought series which, amazingly, also ended in a tie, 2 test matches apiece, and so again leaving the status of unofficial world champions in the balance. This was developing into a very special rivalry. They would meet for a third time 9 years later, when the Springboks again toured New Zealand in 1937. Philip Nel was by now a veteran, and indeed Springbok captain. And while Google indicates that the Springbok in Dlamu had been put to bed in the 1920s, I have seen video footage of the Springboks performing their Zulu war cry during these test matches of 1937. By now, the All Blacks were routinely
We have to bring it back today. Tell them the Demouchets say we got to bring it back today. I want to see today's team do the Zulu war cry.
Yeah, I think that'll be good to see.
I'm putting in my petition.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to see it happen. I love that they did it. You know, they took, the Zulus the Zulus granted them permission to do it. I love that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, it's STEM. Once it's STEM, how can you not do it?
Yes, watching them sing that national anthem together.
Right. Mm-hmm.
In all of the different languages, that was powerful. We gotta see the Zulu.
I feel
like we saw it, but I don't really remember. I think there was some Zulu that came on the field with them, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But I don't know if they did a war cry. We gotta do it.
Yeah.
We gotta see it. Come on, petition.
Mm-hmm.
Let's sign the petition.
Forming their Haka both home and away. While the South Africans, it seems, reserved their Zulu in Dlamu primarily for their great foes, the All Blacks. And 1937 would prove to be another bruising set of encounters, which saw the Springboks arrive in Auckland for the final test, with the series again all square at 1 test apiece.
So who won this one?
And this deciding test was to be played out at Fortress Eden Park, in front of 58,000 fanatical home fans. A test match which would prove to be, arguably, the Springboks' finest ever hour. For they proceeded to demolish the All Blacks by a remarkable 5 tries to 0. A time of great celebration for these Springboks, and a victory which has stood the test of time. But for me, it comes packaged with an uncomfortable sense of nostalgia. For this remains the only series we have ever won in New Zealand, and amazingly we haven't beaten the All Blacks in Auckland since that memorable day.
Okay.
And then regrettably, that remarkable final test would also be the last time that the Springboks delivered their traditional Zulu jam.
Oh, wow.
Because the interruption of World War II in 1939 meant that it would be another 12 years before the Springboks and the All Blacks battled it out for a fourth time. On this occasion in South Africa in 1949. And during this long interlude, South Africa had of course undergone a tragic transformation. Because a year before, in 1948, D.F. Malan and his National Party had, in a notable upset, won the South African general elections under their infamous election campaign, which they coined apartheid, meaning separateness. Because this system actively sought to tear our many cultures away from one another. A policy which accordingly forbade the All Blacks from bringing any Maori players to South Africa, so spawning a silent protest from the All Blacks, who then made the unprecedented decision to refrain from performing their famous Haka on that tour of 1949.
Heard that.
A decision which, ironically, probably pleased the South African authorities, for they too would of course be doing away with their Zulu Njalo. Indeed, the very principle of apartheid was such that it could no longer stomach a rugby team of so-called Europeans.
You gotta think about it, because it's like, they playing all these years. I forgot the first one, but it went from 7 years to 9 years. Then the war happened. 12 years later, they finally able to play again. And then somebody had this wild idea to say, hey, let's just separate all of them while all this good stuff is happening to them.
Knowing that the team is what brings the pride of the whole country together.
No, real talk. Springboks was like, the name was just such a big thing to the people. It's like, that's what they had. You know what I'm saying? And it's terrible. And then they had the Zulu stamped it and everything, where they were able to do their thing on the field, and then apartheid come up, and it's like,
politics always messing up something.
Somebody always has something.
Always messing up something.
Sad.
But you gotta remind it.
Gotcha.
He was in the middle of something.
These the South African authorities, for they too would of course be doing away with their Zulu Njalo. Indeed, the very principle of apartheid was such that it could no longer stomach a rugby team of so-called Europeans, executing a war cry which celebrated the customs of an African people. And broadly speaking, this was one of apartheid's many great tragedies. Because now, devoid of opportunities to understand and celebrate one another's cultures, South Africa's rich cultural diversity was in time heavily diluted, and the national conversation degenerated instead into the hideously oversimplified concept of race. And so while my school history books were rich in detail on white history, the pioneers, the Great Trek, and the Anglo-Boer War, black South African history was covered fleetingly, really as more of a backdrop through which to understand European history, with critical moments in their story simply erased from the national conversation. Indeed, consider for example the quite remarkable incident of the SS Mendi, an accident which I would only learn about amazingly late in life. The SS Mendi was a ship carrying black South African soldiers in 1917 on their way to the front line in Flanders. However, the ship, which had been travelling without lights, as was required by wartime procedure, was struck by another darkened vessel in the English Channel, and it had quickly become clear that it was destined to sink. At which point, these proud men assembled on the deck, and on realizing their fate, they stripped, and they began to chant, with all the pride they could muster, the war cries Haka had once taught their people, until the crashing seas gradually rose above the deck, eventually silencing the men, an experience which survivors would declare had forever been etched into their memories. 646 men lost their lives in that incident. 607 of the...
So with 600 men, y'all.
I will never, ever stop saying the history and just certain events, although it don't happen at the same time in history.
Correct.
Between South Africa and the United States always mirror each other. Always.
Yeah.
Like, I have purchased the books. I have begun reading all of the things and like really comparing and contrasting. It's it brought me back to um, the coast of the Carolinas
Yeah.
when our people chose to go back in the water.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. That's the
Yeah.
image that came back.
It's like I'd rather drown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's like they always had a target on their back. For a reason that we still today is like, I don't know how to put it to word, but it's like unnecessary hatred or unnecessary causes to a group of people, basically a culture, right? Trying to silence a culture, try to get a culture to stop doing what they're doing to the expressiveness that they can do it. And the more went out exactly how they are being told what they can't do. And that was their war cries, right? Took it from off the field and said y'all can't do it no more.
Beautiful.
So
I would love to like know the words to really dissect the meanings of if it was a specific war cry that they did or if it was, different each time. Would love to understand the words and the meanings.
Whom were black soldiers, more than double the combined Boer and British losses at the famously deadly Battle of Springbok. And in truth, one of the most tragic single incidents in our country's history. An incident which at the time brought the all-white South African Parliament under Louis Botha spontaneously to its feet, bowing their heads in silence to honour these brave men. And yet, astonishingly, this tragedy never made it into my history books, or even to my dinner table, gone and forgotten. This was how apartheid worked. Indeed, by 1956, when the Springboks took on the All Blacks for a fifth time, the Springbok in Glamour was already all but lost to the world, an old ritual slowly fading from our collective memory. And 1956 was also an important year in the race-based tragedy which was beginning to unfold rapidly in South Africa. Indeed, just 5 days after a Springbok victory in the second test in Wellington in 1956, the apartheid government was rocked by a huge protest march by women to the Union buildings, a march which we still commemorate annually on August the 9th as our National Women's Day holiday. And this march was part of a new mass resistance to apartheid which had been brewing, and which was rendering the South African government increasingly nervous, indeed eventually prompting their decision to swoop on leaders of the resistance movement, so resulting in the mass arrest of an unprecedented 156 struggle leaders from all over the country, including the likes of both Nelson Mandela and Chief Albert Luthuli. And they were then all transported to the notorious Johannesburg prison, known then simply as the Fort, ironically today the premises of our constitutional court.
Oh, we went there.
And here, in December 1956, exactly 60 years ago, these leaders were held for 2 weeks in atrocious conditions in a communal cell. But notwithstanding the conditions, this soon developed into a convention for freedom fighters, a platform where knowledge and ideas were shared, and a new unity was forged, a unity demonstrated when these men broke into a series of war cries, and in Glamour, initially led by a young Zulu freedom fighter, Masabalala Yengwa, before the veteran Zulu chief Albert Luthuli sprung into life, standing forward and bellowing, "Ngushaka law! This is Shaka." And with that, all the men joined in solidarity, a rousing moment recalled vividly by Nelson Mandela in his autobiography. And so, while the Ndlamu was by now dead to the Springboks, it lived on, of course, in the culture of these proud African people, a ritual which rises to the surface during times of great importance.
I think that's
So 2017 is,
almost
in several respects, going to be an auspicious year. Firstly, it is the centenary of the sinking of the SS Mendi, a sacrifice which we as a nation should collectively be remembering on February the 21st. And then it is, of course, 80 years since our only ever series victory in New Zealand. 80 years since our last test victory in the city of Auckland. And 80 years since the Springboks last executed their traditional Ndlamu. And wouldn't it be a wonderful gesture to revive this old Springbok tradition when we're allowed into the field to take on the All Blacks in Auckland on September 16th, 2017. A statement to the world that we are now recognizing and celebrating the diverse cultures of the South African people. And while the internet can no longer remember the lyrics of that Ndlamu, I was recently given a disc by Pete Nell, the son of Philip Nell, following a talk I gave in Durban about those remarkable 1937 Springboks. And on this disc is an interview with Philip Nell himself. an interview in which he outlines the words and the meaning of our old Ndlamu.
That's what you was
It is
just
there for
asking.
the taking. Bushaka.
That's crazy. Hey, what is this? This.
Oh, I thought we was gonna play it.
I thought he was gonna play. That's crazy. You literally just said that.
OMG.
Hey, bro, you gotta have that dog in you, cause they was trying to stop them boys for years from just having this just war cry, and then apartheid came, and then they was locking all their great leaders up. People don't understand. Nelson Mandela was locked up with no communication.
Yeah.
On an island by himself for a long
They
time.
didn't get to that one though. They didn't get to that one.
They started saying it, but I'm saying, but then they had the rise of the next young man,
Yeah,
right? And it's just
yeah.
you gotta continuously have that dog in you, like, because even just being present is gonna always remind them. Because if they don't, after 80 years, if they don't come back with a war cry, your presence is still there.
Deion putting in his petition.
Your presence is still there. You still gonna remind them of who you are and where you
Yes.
come from, and the history that they try to erase is still in their face. So it's like you still win at the end of the day, yo.
Yes.
Like, but it's still a messed up storyline. It's crazy how they did it.
It is, but the strength
Yep.
of South African people,
Gotta have that dog in you.
the strength of them. I just love that throughout all of the histories that we have learned, no matter what they're going through, when they're at their lowest, they come together as one. And of course, it reminded me of our histories, but they come together as one and they start chanting. And
Yeah.
you know, all these means. I wish you would have gotten to it. I would have loved to listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
OMG. But we put in our petition. September 17th, 16th, whatever he said. We want to see the war cry. We hear it. Is that the one that's happening in Baltimore?
Could be.
I don't know.
We're gonna have to fact check
We got
it.
to-
We gotta do some research. We gotta use the Google.
Yes.
Mm.
Woo. This video gave me chills.
Imagine us being there and they actually do it.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. You know I always cry for you.
We'll be in the little history book.
Child.
We'll put that on the wall. Yep.
Listen, I always said the moment we touched down in South Africa, I was gonna cry. I was too tired to cry that day. I was tired. It was a long journey. Okay, but ooh.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.